The stars above Earth had always seemed peaceful. At night, the sky was filled with tiny, bright lights that twinkled softly, like distant fires burning in the dark. But peace in the galaxy was fragile. Beyond the reach of human settlements, there were creatures who thought they owned the stars. They were not small or weak. They were tall, with sharp claws and eyes that glowed in the dark. Their ships were fast and powerful, filled with weapons that could destroy entire colonies with one strike. To them, no one could stop them. Jack Morrow watched the stars from the bridge of the human ship Odyssey. He had short brown hair, a sharp jaw, and eyes that always seemed to be calculating something. Jack was a fleet officer, responsible for coordinating human ships in the outer colonies. He had seen strange things in space, but nothing like the alien coalition that had appeared near the Alpha Centauri system. He had heard stories from other humans, ships disappearing, planets burning, but until now he had not truly believed how dangerous they were. Claire Donovan worked in a small observation post on Luna, the moon of Earth. She had been an analyst for almost 5 years, studying signals and messages from deep space. Claire was quiet and thoughtful, with long black hair always tied back in a braid. She noticed patterns that others did not see. While people feared the aliens, Claire tried to understand them. She looked at every message, every movement, and every action the aliens took. At first, humans thought the aliens would treat them like equals. That was a mistake. The first encounter came without warning. A scouting fleet of alien ships moved into the outskirts of the solar system. They were enormous, like floating fortresses, with armor that seemed unbreakable. Human defense stations detected them too late. By the time the first warning reached Earth, the alien ships had already attacked a small mining colony near Mars. Jack was on the command deck when the news arrived. Alarms screamed and red lights flashed. "All hands to battle stations," he ordered, voice calm but firm. The human fleet scrambled, sending every available ship to protect the colony. But the aliens moved faster and with precision that human pilots had never seen. The first shots fired were like thunder in space. Human ships launched missiles and laser beams, but the aliens dodged every strike. Their shields absorbed everything humans could throw at them. Then the aliens attacked back. Entire human ships were destroyed in seconds. The fleet could not respond in time. The colony on Mars was gone. After the battle, the alien fleet vanished as quickly as it had appeared. They left behind silence, and humans were left counting losses. Claire sat in front of her screens, hands trembling slightly. She had expected the aliens to be dangerous, but this was beyond her imagination. "They are too organized," she whispered to herself. "They think they cannot fail." The news spread across Earth and the colonies. People panicked. Governments held emergency meetings. Jack and other fleet officers were called to strategy sessions. The aliens were strong, far stronger than humans in raw firepower, but Claire saw something else. "They are confident," she said to Jack during a briefing. "Maybe too confident." "Their attacks are quick and precise, but always predictable. They never adapt in the middle of a fight. They think rules protect them. That is their weakness." Jack frowned. "We have no time to think about weaknesses. We have to survive." Survival became the first goal. Humans began building new fleets, training faster and preparing for more alien attacks. They fortified colonies and installed early warning systems, but fear remained. Everyone knew the aliens were coming again. The aliens believed themselves invincible. Each victory had made them stronger in their minds. They saw humans as weak, primitive creatures who could not match their might. They laughed at reports of human losses, thinking of them as small fires that would burn out quickly. In their eyes, humans were like ants, too small to matter. Meanwhile, on Luna, Claire studied the aliens day and night. She had walls covered with charts, signals, and decoded messages. She noticed that the aliens always attacked in the same way. They never split their fleet. They never feigned retreat. They used massive weapons to destroy settlements quickly. Claire wrote down every detail. Jack had begun to trust her insights. He visited her on the moon once to discuss her findings. "If we just copy their tactics, we will lose," Claire told him. "We need to think differently. We cannot match them in strength. We have to be smarter." Jack nodded slowly. "Then we fight differently. I don't know if it will work, but we have to try." While humans prepared, life went on in the colonies. People worked, studied, and lived under the shadow of the alien threat. Some lost hope. Some grew angry. But some, like Ben Carter and Amy Ross, two young pilots, refused to give in to fear. Ben had a quick smile and a love for adventure, while Amy was calm and precise, always planning her next move. They trained in small fighter ships, running drills that seemed almost reckless to older officers. But Ben and Amy believed humans could survive if they stayed clever and brave. The second encounter came months later. This time, the aliens attacked the colony on Titan. Humans were ready, at least a little. Jack led a fleet of ships to intercept them. Pilots like Ben and Amy took to the skies in their fighters, weaving through the larger alien vessels. The battle was fierce. Human ships were smaller and weaker, but they moved fast and unpredictably. Some of the alien ships were hit. Some shields went down. For the first time, humans felt a small victory, but the aliens were relentless. They pressed on, using overwhelming force to destroy buildings, supplies, and ships. After the battle, the aliens left again. Humans had learned a few lessons, but the cost was high. Thousands of lives were lost. Jack felt the weight of every decision he had made. He walked through the halls of the command center, looking at the faces of people who had survived. Many were scared. Some were angry. A few were determined to fight back. Claire continued her work. She found patterns in the attacks, learning how the aliens communicated and how they made decisions. She discovered that their command structure was rigid. Orders came from the top, and no one could question them. This rigidity made the aliens strong in one way but weak in another. If humans could confuse the leaders, the fleet might falter. Jack and Claire shared these ideas with military leaders. At first, they were met with doubt. "The aliens are stronger than us," one officer said. "How can confusing them help?" Jack replied. "We don't have the power to match them head-on. We have to be clever. That is the only way." Humans began planning differently. Instead of building massive fleets to face the aliens directly, they started thinking about smaller, smarter attacks. Pilots trained in hit-and-run tactics. Engineers worked on weapons that could bypass alien shields. Civilians helped by gathering intelligence and creating strategies. Everyone contributed, and slowly, a plan began to form. Even as humans prepared, the aliens continued their expansion in nearby systems. They conquered planets that were unprepared, enslaving populations and taking resources. They sent messages back to Earth, warning humans to surrender. They believed no one could stop them. Jack watched one of these messages on a large screen. The alien leader spoke in a deep, cold voice. "Humans, you are weak, you cannot resist. Accept your place and your suffering will be less." Jack clenched his fists. "We will not give up," he said. Claire, standing beside him, nodded. "Not yet," she replied. Life on Earth changed. Children learned about survival and courage. Teachers told stories about human victories in the past, reminding everyone that humans had always faced danger and adapted. Families worked together to prepare for emergencies. Scientists developed new technologies for defense. Even though the aliens were stronger, humans found strength in their unity. The alien coalition had never faced a species like this before. Every planet they conquered had resisted in some way. Humans were different. They did not fight in predictable patterns. They learned quickly. They adapted faster than the aliens expected, but the aliens did not notice this yet. They thought humans were just delaying the inevitable. Jack often flew patrol missions in small ships near the edges of the solar system. He saw alien vessels in the distance and felt the fear and excitement of space combat. Pilots like Ben and Amy became heroes among their peers, performing daring missions that tested their courage and skill. Each small success gave humans hope. Claire worked tirelessly, analyzing alien movements and creating strategies. Her insights became crucial to human survival. She wrote notes, studied signals, and sometimes stayed awake for days, piecing together patterns that no one else could see. Her work was quiet, unnoticed by many, but it would soon become the key to survival. For now, humans were learning. They were scared, yes, but they were also growing stronger in spirit. Every loss taught them something new. Every failure showed them how to adapt. And as the stars glimmered above, Jack, Claire, Ben, Amy, and many others prepared for the day when humans would finally stand against the aliens, not as prey, but as equals. The aliens believed themselves invincible. They did not know that humans were learning, planning, and preparing. And that would be their first mistake. Humans had learned to survive, but surviving was not the same as winning. Every day brought new lessons. Every day, humans adapted. Jack Morrow had begun to understand that brute strength alone could not defeat the alien coalition. They needed cleverness, patience, and the courage to try things no one had ever done before. Claire Donovan had spent countless nights studying alien communications. She noticed that the aliens always relied on the same command routines. They made decisions slowly at first, but became very confident once they chose a course of action. They rarely changed it, even when humans attacked unexpectedly. Claire called it predictable arrogance. It was the key to survival. Jack and Claire met regularly on Luna in a small command room filled with screens and charts. "We need to hit them where they don't expect it," Claire said, pointing to a diagram of alien supply routes. "They will come at us in full force if we confront them directly, but if we cut their supplies and confuse their command, they will make mistakes." Jack nodded. "We can't fight all of them at once, but maybe we don't have to." They began to plan smaller, targeted missions. Human crews would strike weak points in the alien network instead of attacking their fleets directly. These missions were dangerous. Many people would risk their lives, but Jack knew there was no other way. Ben Carter and Amy Ross were chosen for the first test mission. They would take a small fighter team deep into space to sabotage an alien supply station orbiting a remote planet. The station was heavily guarded, but humans had studied its movements. The plan relied on speed, timing, and surprise. Ben grinned at the briefing. "Finally, some real action," he said. Amy rolled her eyes but smiled. "Don't get cocky, this is dangerous. We could die if we're not careful." "Then we better not be careless," Ben replied. Jack watched the team leave, feeling a mixture of pride and worry. He knew they were brave, but bravery alone would not be enough. Humans had to outthink the aliens, and Claire had given them the first real insight into how to do it. The mission began. Ben, Amy, and 3 other pilots flew through the darkness of space, invisible among the stars. They used a new technology that allowed their ships to move silently, avoiding alien sensors. Every moment was tense. Every mistake could mean death. When they reached the supply station, the team split into 2 groups. Ben's group would attack the main storage area, while Amy's would disable communications. The plan required perfect coordination. Ben's hands shook slightly on the controls as he approached the station. He took a deep breath. "This is it," he whispered. Amy's voice came over the calm as ever. "Stay focused, we move together, we move fast." The attack was quick and precise. Ben and his team planted explosives in the storage bays, while Amy's group hacked the station systems, confusing the alien operators. For the first time, humans had succeeded in striking a real blow without facing the full force of the alien fleet. But the aliens noticed something was wrong. Alarms blared across the station, and alien fighters scrambled to intercept the human ships. Ben's group barely escaped. Amy's team returned to the rendezvous point, hearts pounding. They had succeeded, but the cost was clear. 1 human ship had been destroyed, and another barely made it back. When they returned to Luna, Jack and Claire met them. "You did it," Jack said quietly, though his eyes were still full of concern. "But we lost 1 ship." "This is only the beginning," Claire nodded. "They are starting to see that we are not helpless, but they don't understand yet how we fight. That will come later." The success of the mission changed something among humans. People began to believe that the aliens could be challenged. Not everyone, but enough to make a difference. They trained harder, prepared smarter, and worked together. Scientists, pilots, and civilians all contributed to the growing human resistance. Meanwhile, the aliens were confused. They had expected humans to cower, to surrender, to obey. But the humans were striking back in ways they could not understand. Orders were given quickly, but the aliens could not anticipate the human strategy. Their confidence, once unshakable, began to show cracks. Jack and Claire planned the next moves carefully. They did not have large fleets to fight the aliens head-on. Instead, they relied on small, fast teams to disrupt supply lines, destroy communication hubs, and gather intelligence. Each mission taught humans something new. Each small victory built confidence. One night, Jack and Claire sat on a balcony of the Luna Command Center, looking out at Earth shining in the distance. "Do you think we can really win?" Jack asked. His voice was quiet, almost doubtful. Claire thought for a moment. "We can survive, and survival is the first step. If we keep learning, keep adapting, we might do more than survive. We might actually make them afraid of us." Jack smiled faintly. "Afraid of humans, that would be something." "Yes," Claire replied. "They think they are invincible. They don't know us yet." Ben and Amy prepared for more missions. Each one tested human skill and ingenuity. They learned to read alien movements, predict their responses, and exploit weaknesses. Human engineers developed new weapons, small but powerful, that could bypass alien shields. Even civilians contributed, creating distractions and sending false signals to confuse alien fleets. Jack coordinated the efforts, making sure each mission fit into the larger strategy. He understood that they could not defeat the aliens with force alone. Every action had to be calculated, every risk measured. Mistakes could cost lives and set humans back for months. Despite the danger, hope grew. Humans were no longer just reacting to alien attacks. They were taking control, shaping the battlefield to their advantage. Even small successes sent waves of encouragement through Earth and the colonies. People began to see themselves not as victims, but as fighters. The alien coalition, however, was not idle. They continued their expansion, conquering planets and capturing resources. But now resistance was appearing at every step. Humans did not fight the aliens like they expected. They did not meet them head-on. Instead, humans disrupted supply lines, set traps, and attacked at unexpected moments. The aliens were frustrated. Jack received reports from Ben's latest mission. The human pilots had successfully sabotaged an alien refueling station, delaying a major attack. Human intelligence teams had intercepted alien communications, learning about upcoming movements. Every small victory mattered, building toward something larger. Claire analyzed the reports. "We are learning their patterns," she said. "They rely too much on structure. If we keep striking unpredictably, we can force mistakes. They are powerful, yes, but they are not perfect." Jack nodded. "Then we fight smart, not just strong. That is our advantage." The humans continued to refine their tactics. They trained more pilots, built new ships, and developed new technology. They learned to move silently, strike quickly, and disappear before the enemy could react. Each mission brought new knowledge and new confidence. The alien coalition still believed they were invincible. They had won many battles, destroyed many colonies, and thought no one could challenge them. But the humans were changing the rules. They were teaching the aliens that not every opponent could be crushed with strength alone. Jack often thought about what Claire had said. Humans could survive and perhaps even win if they stayed clever and united. That belief spread across the colonies. People worked together, shared knowledge, and prepared for the battles to come. Courage grew in every corner of human space. For Ben and Amy, the missions were dangerous but thrilling. They learned to trust each other and their teams. Each success was a reminder that humans could fight back, even against an enemy far stronger than themselves. And the aliens, watching from their fleets, still did not understand. They saw humans as weak, small, and fragile. They did not see the patience, the planning, and the intelligence behind every human action. They had never faced a species that refused to fight by their rules. Claire smiled as she studied the latest data. "They will learn soon enough," she said. "Humans are not easy to break." Jack looked at the stars beyond Luna. The galaxy was vast, full of danger and unknown challenges. But humans were learning, growing stronger not by force, but by cleverness and determination. Every victory, no matter how small, reminded them of their potential. The alien coalition had underestimated humans. That was their first mistake. And humans were ready to take advantage of it. For the first time in many months, hope felt real. The humans had survived their first encounters. They had learned to adapt. They had started to fight back. The next phase of the war was coming. The humans knew it. The aliens believed it was only a matter of time before they crushed human resistance. But humans had already changed the game. And when the day came that humans stood against the aliens, they would be ready. Humans were no longer just reacting to alien attacks. They were taking the fight to the enemy. Every small mission, every hit-and-run strike had taught them something new. They knew that the aliens were strong, but they had also learned that the aliens relied on routine and expected obedience from their crews. That expectation was about to work against them. Jack Morrow stood on the command deck of the Odyssey, looking at a three-dimensional map of the galaxy. Red markers showed alien fleets, and blue markers showed human positions. The map was dotted with plans for coordinated strikes. "This is it," Jack said quietly. "If we do this right, we can finally force them to fight on our terms." Claire Donovan was beside him, studying alien movement patterns. "They will spread their forces thin if we can disrupt their supply lines in multiple systems. she explained. We hit them in 3 places at once. Small teams, fast attacks. If we can keep them off balance, we can win without facing their full strength. Ben Carter and Amy Ross had been chosen to lead 2 of the teams. They had proven themselves in earlier missions, showing courage, skill, and cleverness. This new plan would be the biggest test yet. Each team would operate independently, striking at key alien stations and fleets to create confusion. Ben's team left first. They traveled through asteroid fields to avoid detection. Every movement was calculated. Amy's team followed a different route, using old, abandoned satellites to hide from alien sensors. Both teams knew the risks. One mistake could cost their lives, and the human fleet could lose its advantage. The first target was an alien supply station orbiting a gas giant. Ben's group approached silently, weapons ready, engines nearly silent. The station was massive, guarded by dozens of alien ships. But humans had learned to use stealth, surprise, and precision. Ben's team split into 2 groups. One would plant explosives, the other would create a diversion. The operation began. Alien sensors detected something unusual, but it was too late. Explosions rocked the station, crippling its supply lines. Alien fighters scrambled to respond, but the humans had already disappeared. The first success sent waves of hope back to human command centers. Meanwhile, Amy's team was attacking a communication hub in a nearby system. The hub controlled several fleets and stations, and disrupting it would force the aliens to react blindly. Amy's team moved like shadows, slipping past defenses and using clever tricks to confuse the aliens. Alarms blared, but the human pilots completed their mission and escaped before the aliens could respond effectively. Back on Luna, Jack watched the reports come in. "This is working," he said. "We are forcing them to make mistakes." Claire nodded, her eyes focused on the data. "They will try to regroup," she said. "But we have more missions ready. If we keep the pressure, they will panic." The aliens were not used to losing control. Every success by the humans was a shock. They expected humans to be weak and predictable. Instead, humans moved unpredictably, striking at multiple targets at once, showing a level of coordination the aliens had not seen before. Their arrogance began to falter. In the middle of this, smaller human colonies began to play a role. Civilians helped by creating false signals, drawing alien attention away from real missions. Engineers built small, fast ships that could strike and vanish. Even children learned drills to protect themselves and their families in case of attacks. Every person contributed. Jack coordinated the operations from the Odyssey, sending orders to multiple teams. Each mission was planned to maximize confusion among the aliens. Human pilots became experts in evasive maneuvers, in striking where the aliens least expected, and in retreating before the enemy could react. Ben and Amy met after their missions at a small, hidden human outpost. They were tired but exhilarated. "I never thought we could pull that off," Ben said, his voice still shaky from the adrenaline. Amy smiled. "We didn't do it alone. Everyone played their part. That's why humans can fight back." Even the alien coalition began to notice a change. Their fleets were being delayed, their stations were being destroyed, and their communication networks were in chaos. For the first time, some alien commanders began to doubt their leadership. They had never faced an enemy that refused to fight by the expected rules. Jack and Claire planned the next wave of attacks. This time, the human fleet would engage a larger alien fleet, not to defeat it completely, but to distract it while smaller teams struck at key stations. It was risky. Many human ships could be destroyed. But if the plan worked, the aliens would be forced into a defensive position across multiple systems. The day of the attack arrived. Human ships left their hidden bases and moved toward the target systems. Ben, Amy, and their teams took up positions near asteroid fields, using the terrain to hide from alien sensors. Jack coordinated from the Odyssey, issuing orders and adjusting plans in real time. The first clash came unexpectedly. A human fleet engaged a group of alien ships, drawing their attention. Lasers flashed, engines roared, and missiles streaked across space. The human fleet was smaller, but their goal was not to win outright. They needed to keep the aliens focused while other teams carried out critical strikes. Ben's team struck the alien supply depot, disabling weapons and destroying fuel reserves. Amy's team sabotaged communications, creating confusion among the alien fleet. Every success was reported to Jack, who adjusted the overall plan to exploit every opening. The aliens reacted violently. They attacked human ships with fury, but the humans had planned for this. Pilots used evasive tactics, exploiting gaps in alien formations. Human ships darted between asteroids, fired precision missiles, and disappeared before aliens could counterattack effectively. Claire monitored the battlefield from Luna. "They are panicking," she said, analyzing alien movements. "They are breaking their own rules, and that makes them vulnerable. If we keep up the pressure, they will make mistakes we can exploit." Jack felt a surge of pride. Humans were no longer just surviving, they were dictating the pace of the fight. Small teams had struck multiple systems at once, forcing the alien coalition to react defensively. Their belief in invincibility was cracking. In the midst of the battle, a human ship was hit. It exploded in a flash of fire and debris. Jack felt a pang of sorrow, but knew the loss was not in vain. Every human sacrifice had taught them something. Every risk had brought them closer to proving that the aliens were not unbeatable. As the battle continued, alien ships began to retreat in confusion. They had expected humans to fight in predictable patterns, but instead, humans moved like shadows, striking where least expected. Some alien commanders began to question their own decisions. Their confidence, once unshakable, was faltering. Ben and Amy regrouped with the surviving teams. "We did it," Amy said, breathing heavily. "We actually did it," Ben nodded. "We showed them humans are not easy to break. That's just the beginning." Jack looked at the reports from all teams. The human strategy had worked better than expected. The aliens were forced into defensive positions, supply lines disrupted, and fleets confused. For the first time, humans had not only survived but had gained an advantage. Claire smiled as she studied the data. "We are learning faster than they can adapt," she said. "They thought they were invincible, but they are not against humans." The battle was over, but the war was far from finished. Humans had learned how to strike, how to adapt, and how to survive against an enemy far stronger than themselves. The lessons of this day would shape every future mission. Jack knew the next phase would be even harder. The aliens would recover, regroup, and try to strike back with full force. But humans had learned their secret. Strategy, unpredictability, and courage could level the field against overwhelming power. Ben, Amy, and other pilots returned to Luna, tired but proud. They had risked everything, yet they had proven something important. Humans could fight, and humans could win when they refused to be predictable. Claire worked late into the night, analyzing the results. She noticed that alien fleets were making mistakes that humans could exploit in future battles. Every small advantage counted, and humans were learning to use them better than anyone had thought possible. Jack walked on the balcony of the command center, looking at Earth shining in the distance. "We've come a long way," he said quietly. Claire joined him. "And we are not done," she said. "Humans will keep fighting, they will adapt. They will win, not because we are stronger, but because we are clever and brave." In the galaxy, the alien coalition still thought they were unbeatable. They had crushed countless worlds, destroyed thousands of human ships, and expected humans to surrender. But humans had begun to teach them a hard lesson. Strength alone does not make one invincible. And the humans, for the first time, began to believe in themselves. They had fought strategically, struck with precision, and survived attacks that would have destroyed them before. They were no longer prey. They were challengers. The stars above looked the same, silent and distant. But for the first time, humans felt that the galaxy was not ruled by invincibility alone. There was room for courage, intelligence, and adaptation. And humans were ready to take their place among the stars. The alien coalition had believed themselves untouchable. They had thought humans were too weak to resist. But after this battle, after seeing human strategy and skill, doubts began to creep into their minds. Jack, Claire, Ben, and Amy knew that the real war was only beginning. The next phase would test them even more, but humanity had already proven something important. They could fight back, and they could survive. For the first time, humans were no longer hiding. They were standing against the aliens, and they were ready to take the fight further than anyone had expected. Humans had learned, adapted, and struck back. But the alien coalition still believed themselves invincible. They thought their power was unmatched, their fleets unstoppable, and their tactics flawless. They had never faced an enemy that refused to fight by expected rules. That would soon change. Jack Morrow stood on the bridge of the human flagship, looking at the reports from across multiple systems. Red dots marked alien fleets, blue dots human positions. The galaxy seemed alive with movement. "This is the moment," Jack said quietly. "If we strike now, we can change everything." Claire Donovan worked beside him, her eyes scanning data streams and communication intercepts. "They are reorganizing," she said. "They think they can recover from our attacks, but they don't understand us. We fight differently." That is their weakness. The humans had prepared carefully. They had learned to attack at multiple points at once, confuse alien command structures, and strike where least expected. Every pilot, engineer, and analyst had contributed. Now it was time for a full-scale human operation, a coordinated effort to force the aliens into retreat. Ben Carter and Amy Ross were chosen to lead the most critical mission. Their teams would strike deep into alien territory to destroy a major fleet depot. Other human teams would simultaneously attack supply lines and communication hubs, keeping the aliens off balance. It was risky. Many humans could die, but victory required courage and precision. Ben looked at his team before takeoff. "We've trained for this," he said. "We know the risks, but we also know we can do it. Stick to the plan, trust each other, and we will succeed." Amy nodded. "This is it," she said. "Time to show them humans are not easy to break." The teams moved through space like shadows. Their ships were small, fast, and precise. They avoided detection, using asteroid fields and debris to hide from alien sensors. Every pilot knew that one mistake could cost their lives, but each of them trusted the plan and each other. The first target was the alien fleet depot. It was massive, guarded by dozens of ships and powerful shields. Ben's team approached silently, engines almost off, weapons ready. Amy's team moved to a nearby communication hub, aiming to disable alien coordination. The attacks began. Ben's team split into two groups, one creating a diversion while the other struck the depot directly. Explosions rocked the station as humans bypassed shields and planted charges. Alien fighters scrambled to respond, but the humans were already gone, moving unpredictably through the asteroid field. Amy's team hacked the communication hub, creating confusion among the alien fleets. Orders were delayed, fleets moved out of position, and alien commanders were forced to make quick decisions without full information. For the first time, the aliens felt the sting of uncertainty. Jack monitored all the operations from the flagship. "This is working," he said. "We are controlling the battle, not reacting to it," Claire nodded. "They are making mistakes we can exploit. Keep pressure on every front." Across the galaxy, humans launched simultaneous strikes. Supply lines were destroyed, transport ships captured or destroyed, and communication networks scrambled. Every successful mission added to the chaos, forcing the aliens to split their forces and act defensively. The aliens realized that humans were not predictable. They had expected surrender or straightforward attacks. Instead, humans moved with intelligence, precision, and unity. Their tactics were unfamiliar, and the aliens struggled to adapt. Arrogance began to crumble. In the midst of the battle, a human ship was hit by alien fire. The explosion lit the darkness of space, but it did not stop the human offensive. Pilots adjusted, regrouped, and continued their missions. Losses were mourned, but the fight went on. Survival had taught humans resilience. Ben and Amy regrouped after their attacks. Their teams were exhausted but proud. "We did it," Ben said, voice still shaky from adrenaline. "We've shown them humans are not easy to defeat." Amy smiled. "And we're not done, this is just the start." Jack coordinated with multiple fleets. Each team's success allowed humans to gain more ground, strike deeper into alien territory, and control the pace of the war. For the first time, humans were not just defending, they were shaping the battlefield. Claire analyzed alien movements in real time. "They are trying to regroup," she said, "but their command is confused. They are reacting instead of leading. That gives us an advantage we cannot ignore." Alien fleets attempted to counterattack. Massive ships moved in formation, lasers fired, and missiles streaked through space. But humans used what they had learned: evasive maneuvers, unpredictable strikes, and coordinated distractions. The aliens found themselves unable to respond effectively. For the first time, alien commanders doubted their own strength. They had faced many enemies, but none who could adapt so quickly, strike so unexpectedly, and survive against overwhelming odds. Their belief in invincibility was faltering. Jack watched the reports come in. Entire alien fleets were forced to retreat from several key positions. Supply lines were destroyed, communication networks broken, and morale among alien crews was declining. Humans had proven that intelligence, courage, and adaptability could overcome raw power. Meanwhile, humans in smaller colonies continued to contribute. Civilians created diversions, engineers built new weapons, and analysts intercepted and decoded alien communications. Every person played a role. Every action mattered. Ben and Amy returned to the main human fleet for the final push. Their teams had struck key targets deep in alien territory, and their efforts had paid off. "We've disrupted their entire operation," Amy said. "Now it's up to the fleet to finish the job." Jack coordinated the final engagement. Human fleets engaged alien forces across multiple systems, forcing them into defensive positions. Every strike, every maneuver was calculated to maximize alien losses while minimizing human casualties. The aliens fought with desperation, but it was too late. Humans had taken control of the battle, forcing the enemy to react. Fleets that once seemed unstoppable were now retreating, confused and disorganized. Claire watched the reports, a small smile on her face. "They believed themselves invincible," she said. "They learned that humans are not so easy to break." The battle continued for hours, each side trading losses, but humans had the advantage. Coordination, strategy, and adaptability were winning the day. The aliens could not predict human actions, could not respond to unexpected strikes, and could not regain control. At the end, the alien coalition retreated. Entire fleets withdrew from contested systems, abandoning supply stations and leaving humans in control of key positions. For the first time, humans had forced the aliens to surrender territory, proving that intelligence and courage could overcome raw power. Jack stood on the bridge, watching the reports. "We did it," he said quietly. "We forced them back." For the first time, humans have shown they can stand against this enemy. Ben and Amy smiled, exhausted but proud. "We didn't just survive," Ben said. "We won in a way they didn't expect," Amy nodded. "And that will make them think twice next time." Across human space, celebrations were quiet but meaningful. People had survived, adapted, and fought back. The galaxy had seen that humans could stand against even the strongest foes. Claire reflected on everything they had learned. Humans did not win because they were stronger. They won because they were clever, adaptive, and united. Every small mission, every calculated risk, and every act of courage had built toward this moment. The alien coalition had underestimated humans, believing themselves invincible. That was their greatest mistake. Humans had stood against them and proven that invincibility was only an illusion. Jack looked at the stars beyond the human fleet. The galaxy was vast and full of danger, but humans had found their place among the stars. They had survived the impossible, adapted to the threats, and stood strong when others thought it could not be done. The human victory was not total. The alien coalition would recover, regroup, and perhaps return. But humans had learned that courage, intelligence, and unity could overcome even the most powerful enemy. They had learned that no threat was unbeatable when people stood together and refused to yield. Ben, Amy, and all the human pilots, engineers, and civilians who had contributed looked at the stars with hope and determination. Humans had stood against the greatest threat they had ever faced and had survived. They were no longer prey. They were challengers. They were the future. Jack turned to Claire. "We've done something remarkable," he said. "Humans have proven they can fight when others believe it's impossible." Claire nodded. "And we will keep fighting," she said. "We will keep learning, adapting, and surviving. That is what makes us human." The stars above seemed the same as always, quiet and distant, but everything had changed. Humans had stood against an enemy that believed itself invincible and had survived. The alien coalition had underestimated the spirit of humanity. They had counted on fear, submission, and weakness, but they had faced courage, intelligence, and unity instead. That was a lesson they would never forget. For the first time, humans understood their true strength. It was not in weapons, ships, or raw power. It was in the will to survive, the courage to fight, and the ability to adapt. And as humans prepared for whatever the galaxy might bring next, they knew one thing for certain: they would never be underestimated again. The stars were no longer silent witnesses. They were the stage for human courage, resilience, and hope. And humanity had finally proven that even the impossible could be overcome when people refused to bow, refused to hide, and refused to surrender.